What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So we're continuing with the progress of getting this thing ready for the next stage rally. Now, if you've never seen this build before or anything like that, I built this car from a daily driver to exactly where it is now, which is a full-on stage rally car in this tiny little garage in about 4 or 5 months. And right now, I'm just trying to fix it from the first stage rally that I went and did a few months ago and get it ready for the next one, as well as making a whole bunch of changes from stuff that I learned along the way. So make sure you subscribe if you're not already. I'd really appreciate it. Follow the build along. That'd be awesome. So anyway, today what we're working on is a new hydraulic handbrake setup. The old setup really kind of sucked. I pulled it out in the last video, and this is what's left of the mount. I just really was unhappy with how I designed that thing. It was pretty dumb. It was pretty unsturdy of a mount too, so it had a lot of play in it. And the old hydraulic master cylinder for it ended up having a bad seal, so I think the seal blew out in it. I didn't take it apart and check it out. There's a little C-clip in here that you can just pull out and you can actually check the seal, and you can rebuild these too. They're not that hard, but they're only like 25 bucks, or they're pretty cheap. So I got a new Wilwood one, same size, same fittings, everything, and this is what I'm going to use in place of that one, because that one leaks like crazy. And we're gonna make a more ergonomic design for this, and it should be a lot more sturdy and a lot like slimmer, so it shouldn't get in the way of shifting as well as like using the parking brake. So yeah, it should be a lot better now. So let's get started. Now, the design that I'm actually going to be doing for this is super simple. It should be really easy to make as well. And I kind of got the idea from looking at how other hydraulic handbrakes are made, and that's just oriented the actual master cylinder on its side, somewhat like this. So now the lines won't be sticking up in my way. They'll be able to bend down out of the way, and they won't be sticking up like before, because before this was like right here and it wouldn't even let my parking brake come all the way down, which is kind of annoying. So I had to like under adjust it so that way it wouldn't be dragging. So it's going to be mounted somewhere around here, and the stick's going to still pull in my direction and generally be in the same area. Now, to do this, I'm just going to be welding a plate right around here with 2 tabs sticking up to actually mount the master cylinder to it, somewhat like that. And I'm going to be using this because it's already made, has the dimensions cut out for that area, and I'll show that later. And then to actually mount the handle for it, it's going to be essentially the same thing, a plate welded to the actual transmission tunnel, and 2 little tabs coming up for the handle to actually mount to. So that's the plan. It should be relatively simple. I am going to mess up my paint because of this, but the paint kind of sucks anyway. I did a pretty poor job on it. So it should be able to hide it with just some spray paint. And it is a rally car, and it's the interior rally car, so whatever, right? Now, like I said, we're going to be using this old mount that I actually had, at least some bits and pieces, so that way I don't have to start completely from scratch. So the plan is, as you can see, this is already cut out to the exact dimensions of the master cylinder, so the circle's in for it to actually sit, and the holes are properly spaced apart. So the plan is just pretty much going to cut it right here and here on this, and cut the rest out, and those are going to be the areas that are actually going to be welded to the flat plate, which is going to be welded to the top of the transmission tunnel. Alright, so we got this piece all welded up. Looks pretty jankety, whatever. It should work pretty well for what it needs to do. So let's It's gonna go somewhere around there. We'll throw this together, give us more of an idea. Now to do this, I think the easiest way is going to be remove the paint right here and actually tack in a little plate, just like I did here, on there, and then actually make the supports that'll come up to that, instead of making one piece and then trying to attach it to there. I think it's going to be really hard to try to get those angles, so this is the way I'm going to try to do it, and then I'll just make it when it's in the car to the actual plate. That won't be very hard. The angles aren't that weird. So we'll just strip this paint away real quick, cut a little section off, probably the same size as this one, and tack it in roughly where it needs to go. Now for those upright pieces, I'm going to be taking 2 thinner strips. So I'm going to cut this piece down the middle and then cut that in half. And these are going to be my actual like mounts. And I'm going to twist them till about 30 degrees. That way they actually line up with exactly how the handle needs to be. So probably not explained the best way, but it'll make sense once I start cutting. You'll see the bends, and then as I hold it up, it should make a lot more sense. Well, there it is, as ghetto as can be. Looks pretty jankety, but it should be a lot more sturdier, and it's a lot lower profile than the other one. Doesn't get in the way with that. Doesn't get in the way with me shifting in fifth. Definitely gets in the way of me getting in reverse though. I didn't even check that. That's good. I can adjust it to bring this out farther, so that's good because it is kind of bent in. We'll see if it's actually in the way before I start tacking this into place, or actually fully welding it in place. And it's fine. Adjusting it all the way out as far as it can without like not having enough threads on there to where it would be dangerous to have that bend. I can still get in reverse. It's kind of annoying, but I don't think I'll ever need to get in reverse super quickly unless I crash. And it doesn't matter anyway. But it's definitely a lot better. So I'm just going to pull that out and start welding everything completely. And I'm just going to leave it in the car to do that. So all that's just going to get MIG welded because I don't feel like trying to TIG all of that stuff in there. And then just MIG it all to the chassis. Same with this piece. Pull out the master cylinder so I don't cook it right away. And then paint it once it cools, and this is done.
Well, I threw the old master in there, wanted to see what it looked like, and definitely is better than before. A lot lower profile. It's pretty sturdy, that's for sure. I mean, that's not going anywhere at all. Way sturdier than the old mount before, going through the floor, and I had weld nuts on the other side of the tunnel, so this is much better. It's kind of big over here, kind of sticks out a little bit, but I did sit in the chair, and this clears the co-driver's knee. The seat goes to like right here anyway, and then with the bucket, it's like impossible to even move your foot over that far to even make contact with it. But if it did, I could just put padding on it to make sure that it wouldn't ever cause any issues in case something happened. But it is plenty far away from the co-driver, so I don't have to worry about it becoming an issue in the future. Well, it definitely took me a lot longer than I thought it would. As with most projects, that's how it always is. So I'm not going to get much more done tonight. I'm going to let that cool and then do all the paint prep and whatnot tomorrow, or whenever I get a chance. Throw a coat of paint on it, make it look a little better. I also need to sand up where I burnt paint around it because I didn't really remove enough, and it probably would have been better off removing more than what I did because I burned a bunch and bubbled up paint from welding. So yeah, that'll be fun to prep all that and then get some spray paint on it, and then it won't look too terrible. And I gotta do brake lines tomorrow, fuel lines, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna knock that out tomorrow. I'm pretty much done. I gotta head in anyway, and yeah, that's all I got for this video. Hopefully you liked it. You can't see me right now because I walked outside. Well, that's all I got for this video, so I'll stop rambling. So hope you guys have a good day, whatever time of the day you're watching it, morning, night, whatever, you know, have a good one. I'm gonna clean up, probably get some sleep.